Rob49 versus NBA YoungBoy. How New Orleans and Baton Rouge almost collided. Boy, alright, buckle up. Today we're diving deep into a low-key but very real tension bubbling between two Louisiana giants, Rob49 and NBA YoungBoy. Now, this ain't your typical rap beef with back and forth diss tracks on every album. Nah, this one's more silent war, more I see you, I just ain't rockin' with you energy. It's New Orleans versus Baton Rouge. Vulture Island versus Never Broke Again, and we're here to break it all the way down. Before we get into it, if you love rap beefs, Louisiana street politics, or just enjoy watching rappers throw subliminals and then pretend like it wasn't about nobody, hit that subscribe button, like the vid, and let us know in the comments, Rob49 or NBA YoungBoy, who you riding with? Where the beef started, let's rewind the tape. Back in 2021-2022, Rob49 was blowing up fast. He had that gritty New Orleans sound, Birdman was giving him that cosign, and he had Vulture Island buzzing in the streets. At the same time, YoungBoy was on his usual demon time, dropping music like it was a mixtape factory, throwing shots at half the industry, and beefing with everybody from Lil Durk to half of his own label. But the tension between Rob49 and YoungBoy, it wasn't over a girl, it wasn't over money, it was over Birdman and allegiances. See, Birdman had been playing both sides for a minute. He claims both cities. He's always said, I'm from New Orleans, but Baton Rouge raised me too. And he was mentoring both Rob49 and NBA YoungBoy at one point. But once Birdman started pushing Rob49 more heavily, and even called him the face of New Orleans, things got icy between YB's camp and anyone rocking too close with Stuna. Then the Quando Rondo connection came into play. Quando is YB's artist and his right-hand soldier. Well, guess what? Rob49 dropped a subtle bar about Snake switching sides right after Quando had an online dust-up with a few NOLA dudes. Coincidence? Nah, not in Louisiana rap politics. YB's fans started noticing Rob wasn't showing love to Never Broke Again, and vice versa. No collabs, no shoutouts, no reposts, just silence. And in the South, silence means something. But the biggest early sign came during an interview when Rob was asked if he rocks with any Baton Rouge artists. And this man said, I don't listen to none of that shut. I'm from New Orleans. We different. Hold up. That may sound like pride for your city, but down south, saying you don't mess with any Baton Rouge music, that's code for I don't rock with YB at all. Then came the features game. Rob49 started showing up on tracks with No Cap, one of the few YB affiliates who's been very public about falling out with YoungBoy. So to recap real quick. Birdman's picking sides, Rob's keeping distance, no collabs, disrespectful interviews, and linking with people YB doesn't fuck with. That's a recipe for silent smoke. So boom. The beef didn't start with a diss track. It started with energy shifts, quiet alliances, and a few strategic moves that made NBA YoungBoy's whole camp look at Rob like, oh, you one of them? Alright, now that we know how the Rob49 versus NBA YoungBoy tension started, let's talk about the shots that weren't direct. But everybody knew what was going on, because when it comes to southern rap beefs, you don't always get a hit 'em up. Sometimes you get a blink and you'll miss it bar with just enough venom to start a war. Rob49's subliminal shots. Let's talk about Vulture Island V2. That's the track that really put Rob on a new level, but tucked inside the hype was a line where he says, I don't do no dissing, I get active. That line sounds regular, until you realize it dropped right around the time YoungBoy was dissing literally everyone. Durk, Apple Music, blogs, probably the mailman. So Rob saying, I don't do dissing. Yeah, that's a shot. And then on Product of the Trenches, Rob doubles down with, and Eames tweeting like they killers, but they won't step out that house. Come on now. Who's known for staying inside and dropping heat from house arrest in Utah? Exactly. YoungBoy's energy and return fire. Now let's flip the script. YoungBoy might be the king of passive-aggressive war music, and while he hasn't dropped Rob's name, there are a few lines that fans swear were aimed at the New Orleans camp. In I Don't Talk, he says, I don't FK with none of them city boys, all them pee, all them hoes. Now pause. That could be about the city girls, or it could be a coded jab at Rob49, who reps New Orleans heavy and has that whole city on my back energy. Then in No Switch, here he goes, they hollin' gangster, but we know they never slide. All them vultures really pigeons when it's time to ride. Bro, vultures? Who you know calls himself Vulture Island's general? Yeah, that one ain't even subtle. But here's the twist. None of these disses get traction the way normal beef tracks do, because these guys are playing chess. It's not Durk versus YB level. It's Cold War. Birdman in the middle. Let's talk about the Birdman of it all. Birdman is like the godfather of Louisiana rap. He got ties to the Hot Boys, Lil Wayne, Juvenile, and now Rob49. But he also used to rock heavy with YoungBoy. In fact, Birdman and YB dropped a whole tape together from the Bayou in 2021. Fast forward a year. Birdman is only promoting Rob49, putting him on stage in interviews talking about Rob Got Next, and even low-key ignoring YoungBoy projects. Then at Rolling Loud, Rob brings out Birdman to the crowd like it's a coronation. This the man who put on for the South. He putting on for me now. YB fans in the comments like, oh word? So we not effing with YoungBoy no more? Let's not forget, in the South, loyalty is everything. So when the mentor picks a side, the other side gets tight. Industry alliances, No Cap, Quando, Fredo Bang, and the Pressure Cooker. Now, enter the No Cap factor. He's signed to Never Broke Again, but has had a rocky relationship with YoungBoy. He and Rob49 have linked multiple times, both in music and in energy. Rob posted a clip with No Cap on IG, and the caption said, "Real ones link up." Boy, if that ain't shade. Then there's Quando Rondo. Quando is YB's pit bull. If YB got beef with you, Quando barking right behind him. Quando posted up after a Rob49 show and tweeted, "Can't trust no NOLA rappers, most of them industry made." Rob never responded, but you could tell by his silence he knew what time it was. Let's not forget Fredo Bang. He's from Baton Rouge, but hates YB. He's followed Rob on IG, shared a couple of Rob tracks, and even said, New Orleans got more real ones than BR these days. So now you got a triangle forming. Rob49 in New Orleans, YB in Baton Rouge, Birdman in the middle, No Cap and Fredo kind of circling the wagons. And meanwhile, Quando Rondo's somewhere on IG Live acting like Rob stole his parking spot. So while there's no official diss track titled Rob49 vs. YoungBoy, you got subliminals, barbs, alliances, unfollows, and cold shoulders all over the place. And remember, in the South, half the beef is who you take pictures with. Next up, social media shots and street rumors where this beef really gets spicy. From IG Lives to Clubhouse slips, it gets messy. Now we've seen the sneak disses, we've broken down the industry chessboard. But what happens when the smoke starts spilling off the mic? See, in the South, half the war is off camera, on IG Lives, in close friend stories, and whispered in the hoods. And that's where Rob49 versus YoungBoy gets crazy. We're talking deleted tweets, backdoor warnings, and street tension you gotta squint to see unless you live there. Let's tap in. The IG Lives that started it all in, mid-2022. Rob went on IG Live answering fan questions. Somebody asked, "You gonna work with YoungBoy?" Rob smirked and hit him with the classic, "I don't do the internet, saw," then immediately changed the subject. Now, in New Orleans speak, that means, hell nah, but I ain't finna explain it to y'all. YB fans caught that and ran with it. Twitter was on fire for like 2 days. Rob scared of YB. YB don't mess with New Orleans. All types of noise. Then YB's sister liked a comment saying Rob49 fake trying to act tough, which sounds like a small thing, but in Baton Rouge culture, liking a shady comment is a digital gunshot. The Clubhouse slip-up and street whispers around that same time, a Baton Rouge affiliate hopped on Clubhouse and said, "We don't go to New Orleans unless it's business. Them boys don't play fair." People in the comments were like, "Y'all talking about Rob?" Dude gets quiet, then says, "Ain't gonna say no names, but y'all know who the vultures are." Wild. Then came the whispers. Multiple blog pages posted rumors that NBA's crew was warned not to perform certain songs at a show in New Orleans, allegedly because Rob's people were in the building. No violence ever popped off, but the tension was loud enough that YB's team didn't promote that stop too heavy. If that's not quiet beef, I don't know what is. Hidden tensions in New Orleans, Rob's side. Now let's flip to Rob49's backyard, the Calliope projects. This ain't just any part of New Orleans. This is real deal, cut from a different cloth type energy. Word in the city was that Rob's crew wasn't just rappers. They was still tied into the streets. YB's camp knows this. That's why even though he got smoke with Rob, he's never name-dropped him directly. YoungBoy will diss everybody, even legends like Lil Durk or Drake. But with Rob, silence. Because the city of New Orleans don't play, and Rob ain't moving solo. He got Birdman, Stunna's security, and the trenches behind him. One blog even reported that Quando Rondo skipped a paid walkthrough in Louisiana because Rob was rumored to be in the area. Now again, nothing confirmed. But in rap, ducking a show, that's a loud message. The power of silence. What makes this beef so different is how quiet it is. There's no diss songs with names in all caps, no skits, no 6699 style rants. It's I know where you be, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Rob doesn't even tweet much, but when he does, it's cryptic. One time he posted, the loudest one in the room, usually the weakest. 10 minutes later, YoungBoy posted, I speak when I feel like it. All that quiet, so don't scare nobody. Now look, it could all be coincidence, but in the streets, ain't no such thing. It's all about who you stand next to, who you don't mention, and where you don't show up. So between the deleted tweets, close friend shade, and skipped shows, this beef is way deeper than fans even realize. Coming up next, we talk Baton Rouge versus New Orleans for real. The regional rivalry, the career impact, and the big question. Why hasn't this blown up into full-blown warfare yet? Now let's talk about the tension between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, because this beef is deeper than just Rob49 and NBA YoungBoy. It's a clash of cities, mindsets, and street cultures. If you're not from Louisiana, you might think it's all one scene. But down there, New Orleans and Baton Rouge move very different. Rob49 represents New Orleans, specifically the Calliope projects. His whole image is built on being the face of a city that raised some of the most feared and respected names in hip-hop, Soulja Slim, the Hot Boys, and even Birdman himself. New Orleans cats move militant, flashy, but silent. They play chess and keep their business in-house. Baton Rouge, on the other hand, has produced some of the most emotionally raw, aggressively vocal artists of this era. YoungBoy being the prime example. He wears everything on his sleeve, tweets it, sings it, yells it. If he got a problem with you, the whole internet's gonna know. That culture clash is part of why this beef hasn't escalated in a traditional way. Because New Orleans doesn't operate like Baton Rouge. Rob ain't gonna drop a diss track. He's gonna make a phone call and show up where it counts. It's less about music, more about presence and control. And that's exactly why YoungBoy's camp is careful. They might talk slick, but they don't want this to get physical. Now let's talk about career impact. Because even though they haven't gone at each other directly, the tension has affected both artists' moves. Rob49 doesn't get NBA YoungBoy fans showing him love, and vice versa. Their fan bases don't overlap. There's a quiet split between Baton Rouge listeners and New Orleans listeners, and if you're an artist in Louisiana, you almost have to pick a side. Rob aligning with Birdman, No Cap, and Fredo Bang automatically alienated him from YB's entire circle. Meanwhile, YoungBoy, who used to get support from every corner of the South, is now moving more isolated. He's not as embraced in New Orleans as he was before, and his last few live appearances there, minimal. But the biggest question everyone keeps asking is, why hasn't this escalated? The truth is, both camps have too much to lose. Rob49 is trying to take over the industry. He's getting label attention, big features, and Birdman is grooming him to be the next one. He can't afford to get caught up in a full-blown street war with one of the most unpredictable rappers in the game. YoungBoy? He's been on house arrest, watched by the feds, and already has a long list of industry beefs. Adding a real-life issue with someone from New Orleans? That's a whole different level of heat. That's not the kind of problem you solve with a diss track. That's a your show gets canceled type problem. So what we have is two artists who clearly don't like each other, but who are both smart enough to keep it from boiling over, at least for now. Let's bring this all together. We started with what looked like just two artists not working together. No diss tracks, no direct shots. But if you've been paying attention, this ain't just silence. It's intentional. Strategic silence. A quiet war between New Orleans and Baton Rouge that's been bubbling under the surface of Louisiana hip-hop for years. Rob49 and NBA YoungBoy are two of the most important Southern artists of this generation, but they represent two different worlds, two different philosophies. Rob49 is militant, tight-lipped, calculated. He moves like a boss in the shadows. NBA YoungBoy is raw, explosive, emotional. He'll say what he feels in the moment, burn a bridge, and post it on YouTube the next day. And because of those differences, their paths were never going to coexist for long. Birdman plays a huge role in this. At one point, he was co-signing both. Now, he's standing behind Rob49 as the future. Whether he meant it or not, that move split the map. Birdman became the line in the sand, and everyone in the Louisiana rap scene had to decide which direction they were going to lean. That's why you don't see Rob and YB in the same spaces. That's why even people around them move carefully about who they associate with. This beef doesn't exist in verses. It exists in who's in what photo, who gets featured on what tape, who reposts whose album, who pulls up to which city, and most importantly, who doesn't. Now let's talk about the theories fans been running with, because if you've seen the comments, the message boards, or the Reddit threads, people swear this is deeper than music. There are rumors about behind-the-scenes altercations, threats, DMs, warnings before shows, promoters canceling appearances in certain cities to avoid conflict. Again, no confirmation. But where there's smoke, there's usually a little fire, and people have been trying to bait them into going public. Every time one of them drops a cryptic tweet, fans are in the replies saying, "Is this about Rob?" Or, "Is he talking about YoungBoy?" The blogs feed off it. Pages like Academics and Say Cheese TV love to stir the pot, but neither camp has taken the bait. Because here's the thing, this beef might be real, but both Rob49 and YoungBoy are playing a long game. Rob is focused on crossing into mainstream success. He's finally getting festival slots, major label looks, and collaborations outside the South. He's got the Birdman machine behind him. Going to war with YB might make headlines, but it also makes him a target, not just for fans, but for industry politics too. YB, on the other hand, is finally in a position to pivot. He's still wild, still unpredictable, but there's been a shift. He's talking more about peace, trying to navigate his legal battles, still making music at a crazy pace, but you can tell he's thinking about legacy now. Getting into it with another Louisiana artist might be too close to home, especially with the feds watching, especially when the streets might not let it stay lyrical. And let's not forget the role of security. These are not regular rap beefs anymore. These are million-dollar artists, surrounded by real enforcers, real money, and real consequences. That's why every live appearance gets scrutinized. That's why entourages are checked at the door. That's why you don't see Rob and YB booked at the same events. It's not just personal. It's logistical. Nobody wants to be the promoter that accidentally sparks a riot because they didn't respect the tension. So what's next? Honestly, this beef might never explode, and that's exactly what makes it so interesting. It might stay frozen in this weird, silent standoff forever. Rob49 will keep leveling up, YoungBoy will keep doing YoungBoy, and the fans will keep reading between the lines. But there's always a chance, a tweet, a lyric, one slip on a live stream. That's all it would take for this Cold War to turn hot. Because let's be real, there's pride involved. There's city pride, label pride, ego, loyalty, and the South, don't forget. If the wrong person says the wrong thing at the wrong time, it could turn into something way bigger. Or maybe we get the opposite. Maybe they squash it one day. Maybe Birdman plays peacemaker. Maybe they realize the South would be stronger united. Maybe we get a surprise feature that shuts the internet down. It sounds unlikely, but hey, rap is unpredictable. We've seen bigger beefs squashed. Gucci and Jeezy shared a stage. 50 and Fat Joe ended theirs. So who knows? At the end of the day, Rob49 and NBA YoungBoy are two powerhouses representing their cities, and their story is still being written. Whether they ever say each other's names or not, they've changed the landscape of Southern hip-hop forever. So now, the mic is yours. What do you think? Is the Rob49 and YoungBoy beef real, or are fans doing too much? Will it ever escalate or stay cold forever? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you made it this far, salute. You're clearly tapped into what we're building here. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell, because we got more deep dives like this dropping every single week. Rap beefs, album histories, industry politics, all of it. Fake famous, we break it down so you don't have to. Catch you in the next one.